People paying money to see me in a 20x20 ring.
Hello, wrestling fans. Welcome to another episode of the 20x20 Ring Crew, episode 56 to be exact. I'm Matt alongside my partner Joe.
What's up?
And we are here to talk more wrestling with all of you. As always, we have wrestling on in the background, or if you want to call it wrestling.
The sports entertainment.
Sports entertainment. We have a edition of WWE Raw that's taking place from our hometown, Chicago, Illinois, or Rosemont, whatever. And right now we are unfortunately watching Batista cut what I'm assuming is a promo that he probably forgot the lines to again. And so we were just talking before we started recording about Batista and the Triple H back and forth, which led to the official announcement of the WrestleMania match. No holds barred, if for those who care, Batista versus Triple H. I made this point for somebody that is, in movies, and somebody that should be able to memorize lines. He forgot a lot of lines, and it was the same lines over and over again. I just don't get it. I shouldn't be surprised, but Batista fucks up again with that stupid nose ring and whatever.
Yeah, I just now noticed that, and I'm like, what the fuck?
It was blue before, and now
Of course it is. Of course it was.
He's got no style. He's just, I don't know. And I'm not really the one to talk about style, but that's just weird, man. It's just weird. But as always, we tell you to go see a wrestling show live.
Yeah, if you can.
If you can, whether it's WWE, if that's your thing, that's fine. Or, somebody big like New Japan, they are coming to the States for the G1. Ring of Honor, MLW, Evolve, AEW, it's starting May 25th. Not sooner, so fucking deal with it, people. They're not just a t-shirt company, they are a legit wrestling company. But I recently went to a show. You and I went to a show back in January. It was you and me and your daughter. Mm-hmm. We saw Warrior Wrestling 3. Over this past weekend, I saw Warrior Wrestling 4. Joe was not in attendance with me, but I did go with a mutual friend to the show, and it was her first time at a wrestling show altogether. And it was interesting. So
I bet it was, because I know her, and wrestling is definitely not her thing.
No, it's not at all. And it's always fun bringing somebody to a wrestling show that's their first time, whether they're a wrestling fan or not.
Or not, yeah.
Because for them to take it in, all right. So let me backtrack a little bit here.
Sure.
Let's go back to 2010 to a WWE show, nonetheless. It was Night of Champions pay-per-view.
Okay.
And my youngest sister, who was listening to the show, it was her first wrestling show ever, and it was really great for her to take in that experience live.
Yeah, oh yeah.
She'd watch it on TV all the time. She's a huge WWE, or at least was a huge WWE fan. She's kind of fallen out of love with them, like most people, but keeps up with it enough. And I'll never forget, and I tell her this all the time, as long as I live, to hopefully become an old man in my 40s. Oh shit, I'm sorry. 50s, I gotta raise that.
Oh man.
The Undertaker comes out.
Okay.
And for anybody who's never seen The Undertaker come out, even if he comes out now, but in his upper 50s, he's a broken old man, really shouldn't be doing anything physical anymore. He still has that aura that he brings.
Yeah, there's a definite presence.
And I remember Undertaker fought Kane that night for the World Heavyweight title. When the bell rang, everyone's standing up, anticipating the entrance of The Undertaker. And there happened to be a guy in front of my sister that was kind of tall, a little tallish. So she got lucky actually with that seat because he really didn't stand up at all that night, with the exception of the Undertaker. So he, in her way, I mean, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He's just standing up. It's not his fault. He's tall. So I grab her and I tell her, hey, come stand in front of me. There's room. And our arms, like, when the process of moving, they touched and they rubbed. Like, her arm was just filled with this goosebumps, and you could feel the hair standing up, goosebumps on her arm. And I tell her this all the time, like, that was one of the coolest experiences as a wrestling fan and as a big brother to be able to share that, because it was just like, you can talk about it until you're blue in the face, but until you show somebody and you feel it, it's just like, holy shit! Like, this is what I mean. This is what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
So you're right. A friend of ours, she's not much of a wrestling fan, but she was intrigued by it, and she said, why not? So brought her, had a good time overall, but she got to see professional wrestling the way that I would want to introduce somebody to professional wrestling.
Yeah.
And let's be clear here. I'm not saying that she's now a professional wrestling fan, but you did get this, this feel that it was, wow, like, at least some of it I get it. And it was really cool. Like I said, anytime you go to a wrestling show and experience it for yourselves, I highly recommend it. And again, to share it with somebody, whether they're a fan or not, first timers especially, like, it's a really cool experience that I think, any, like, real wrestling fan, whether it's a friend of yours, a significant other, a daughter, brother, sister, a son, whatever it is, a parent maybe, like, it's really cool when they look at it and say, you know what, I get why you like it. It may not be for me still, but I get it now.
Yeah.
And so we went to Warrior Wrestling 4. It was a good show. You and I talked about Warrior Wrestling 3. Overall, it was good, but it had some bad parts. Warrior Wrestling 4 wasn't a perfect show, but my God, it was much better put together.
Much improved. Huh?
Much improved. The referees were on point. The matches, for the most part, were good. I mean, they were really solid. There's a lot of back and forth, good chemistry for the most part. I remember texting you during intermission, and I said exactly that, or at least a shorter version of that.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to Warrior Wrestling, but I might have jinxed them a bit. Because as soon as intermission came back on, I don't know if they blew a speaker or what happened, but there was no music.
No music.
The actual microphone worked. You could still hear that. I mean, it was never really clear to begin with, but I noticed that with a lot of indie shows, the microphone is kind of subpar for the most part. But yeah, there was no music. There was times where they would get it back, but it was for a short period of time, and it was really low. So okay. I don't know what happened there. They, but to their credit, they worked with it. I mean, it is what it is. You can't stop the show. Show must go on. So you don't get music. But there's a particular match that I have to talk about, because I'm not going to go through the whole card. It was a good card, but there was a particular match that actually, and this is another thing too. I'm telling you, it's a better show, better put together show, and then the first match coming back from intermission happens, and it completely just blows my mind to why this happened. And maybe I'm missing something that you can enlighten me with, or maybe some of our listeners can enlighten me. So maybe my mind shouldn't be blown, and I'm unaware of a storyline or something. But it's Sam Adonis, who we saw Warrior Wrestling 3. He's been at every Warrior Wrestling show thus far. I dig the heel character. I dig his heel work.
Yeah, he does decent heel work.
Yeah, it's really good. But the point that I made, actually, to our friend that was with me, he does great heel work, but he relies on it way too much.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta cut the shit and just fucking wrestle.
And he tends not to.
He tends not to. And the thing is, I don't think it's because of lack of ability. I just think it's a lack of understanding what a good worker's supposed to do.
Yeah, just inexperience.
Yeah,
I buy that. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a great wrestler, but it's kind of like getting an incomplete on a homework assignment. Like, you didn't quite fail because you didn't show me everything yet.
Yeah.
So that's my problem with Sam Adonis. So he's wrestling L.A. Park,
Nice.
Yeah, I got to see LA Park
Nice.
live. That was really cool. And for those who don't know, you probably might recognize him as La Parka in WCW. That's what I love about these indie shows. They sometimes they throw surprises. You get people that you don't see very often, and you might not get to see him very often because LA Park. Let's face it, he's older.
Yeah, he's up there in age.
He's up there in age. I mean, I made this point. I was like, because she's like, wow, that he's kind of like heavyset and bigger and a little out of shape. And I was like, well, you've been wrestling for longer than we've been alive.
Yeah.
1982 was his debut, and he's wrestling with his adult son now. So. But LA Park comes out, and again, there's no music. So LA Park comes out through the crowd.
Oh, nice.
And you don't see it happening. So, at one point I want to make out, I really appreciate the fact that they bought a TV, like a big screen TV, and put it right above the end where they come out, like a Titantron. And I'm assuming like the high school kids, because this takes place at a high school.
Yes.
The high school kids might have put it together because all the video packages were the same, like kind of like scenario, but like they used clips from like the wrestlers, either past matches in Warrior Wrestling or just stuff they probably found like on YouTube or something like that.
Okay.
It wasn't super professional, but it looked like something that a more amateurish person would do. But again, I'm assuming they got the high school kids involved, which is cool.
Yeah.
And they had that up and everything like that, and it was definitely trying to show more of an effort, which I can appreciate because indie shows you don't have to do shit like that, but for them to do it anyways was cool. So LA Park, by the way, this match was supposed to take place earlier in the card. LA Park has some issues with customs. He flew in that day, which they announced at the beginning of the show. They also announced we were supposed to see Jungle Boy. Unfortunately, he's going through a pretty hard time right now. The loss of his father. For those who don't know, his father's Luke Perry. Mm-hmm. And then Ethan Page was supposed to be on the show too. I wasn't too happy that they announced this. I felt like maybe this should have been left private. But they announced that his dude had an issue with his youngest daughter, who was very sick, things like that. Like, I don't know. To me, it didn't need, the fans didn't need to know that.
Yeah, right.
Family emergency. Leave it at that.
Yep.
I mean, Jungle Boy. That's a well-known thing.
Yeah, that's kind of...
My mother knows who Jungle Boy is now,
yeah.
So, because she asked me about it. You know who Jungle Boy is? Yeah, I know who he is. I know all about what's going on. But yeah, I don't know. To me, that was a little in poor taste, but I'm not going to beat him up over that. So LA Park, he's coming out. He's got the Titantron going. Sam Adonis is running down the crowd. LA Park isn't going to be here and all that shit, so he's calling out an open challenge. LA Park answers the open challenge anyways. And he comes out with his chair, as he always does. And so they have the match. And then I'm going to speed through some points real quick here. Shortly in the match, maybe like 3 or 4 minutes into it, probably less than that, Sam Adonis takes the chair and he whacks LA Park in the head with it. Right in front of the referee. The match has already started. And nothing happens.
Nothing. So
I'm just looking around. It's like, okay, when you're a pro wrestling fan, there's a little bit of give and take when it comes to... The rules, yeah. They change to benefit the match. It's frustrating at times because you kind of want it to, you want continuity in the rules, but if whatever, you learn to just deal with it. So Sam Adonis has hit him with the chair, and then he takes off LA Park's belt, or it's more of a strap.
Yeah.
So he takes off the strap and he proceeds to whip LA Park with the strap again, right in front of the referee. Okay, like, we're just not following any of the rules. Then it all fucking takes a weird turn, and I don't... So the referee's right there, he's standing right there, he's yelling at Sam Adonis to stop, and Sam Adonis gives the referee the strap, and he tells him to hit LA Park with the strap.
Say that again. Sam Adonis
hands the strap to the referee,
and he tells the ref to hit LA Park
with the strap.
With the strap, okay.
And then the referee takes the strap and he hits LA Park with the strap.
What the fuck?
That was exactly what I said. Like that. I'm literally looking around. To my friend who's not a wrestling fan, to the guy next to me who is a wrestling fan. Am I missing something? Did I go to the bathroom in the wrong time? What's going on? And it didn't end there. There was parts where he's kicking, he's stomping on Sam Adonis is stomping on LA Park, and then he stops and tells the referee, stomp on him. And so he'll stomp on him, but then he'll do it reluctantly, I don't want to do this. But he does it anyways.
What the fuck?
And then it kept happening. I think there was a chop maybe too. And yeah, it was even the crowd was just what the fuck is going on? This referee sucks. They even chanted that in unison. And how it ended, LA Park ended up getting his revenge. He ends up beating the crap out of Adonis. He ends up getting to beating up the referee, and then to a spot where the referee is face down on the ground, and then he pulls up his shirt to expose his bare back, the referee's bare back, and then he reaches into the crowd, or he goes into the crowd, and he grabs somebody's beer. Somebody hands him a beer because they were selling beer at the show, and he pours beer all over the referee's back, and now his back is soaking wet. And then he takes that strap and he quiets everybody down, and he proceeds to do the loudest slap I've heard on that back that's now wet.
Oh my god.
And it was just it was kind of worth it for that, but I'm still confused as shit to what the hell happened. It was just one of those things. So if anybody knows if there's something going on with referees in LA Park, or Sam Adonis, please let me know, because I'm so confused.
That is bizarre. And it isn't one of those situations like you've been seeing lately in New Japan, for those of you who have been watching New Japan, where you'll have I don't know, Evil or someone like that kind of do something with the referee, something similar, but it makes more sense because you have Evil throwing his opponent's leg to the ref to here, hold this, but it's done in such a real quick movement where the ref can't prepare for it, so he just takes the guy's leg, and then all of a sudden Evil's doing something to the opponent. So it's the referee's helping unwillingly, not reluctantly.
It was just weird, and I didn't know what to expect I didn't know what to expect from it afterwards, because there was no explanation. LA Park comes, he's done. He says his bit to the crowd, which is entirely in Spanish, and it was just pretty much a thank you for everything. And then that was it. And then we didn't see that referee for the rest of the night. There was only 3 more matches after that.
Okay.
And I was just is nobody going to explain this to me? Warrior Wrestling guy, what's going on? What's up with this referee? Why did he randomly go fucking rogue? We're talking about WWE and guys and girls, for that matter, just going into business for themselves, going rogue. Independent wrestling referees are going rogue now too.
I guess so.
What the fuck is going on? But overall, it was a really cool show. I got to meet the Draw.
Nice.
I got to meet Sami Callihan. He is an out there dude, but man, if he's one of those guys that I got the impression, if you're not a dick to him, he won't be a dick to you. So he seems approachable. I still would say take caution, because I'm not saying he's gonna sit there and beat your ass or anything like that, but he's different. He's different.
He's different.
We got to see the freelance World Championship defended.
Oh, that's right.
Kylie Ray defended against Britt Baker. And then we also got to see the Progress Women's Championship defended for a second time at Warrior Wrestling Show. Jordan Grace defended against Lisa Marie Varon.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
It was really cool seeing her. There was an unfortunate part at the end where she lost the match to Jordan Grace. And then, Jordan Grace was going to do the gracious thing and raise her hand, and then Lisa Marie did the heel move and hit her, and tried to hit her in the Widow's Peak. And I'll explain to my friend there, that was the thickest knee brace that I've ever seen anyone wear. And I was it's a shame that her knee didn't hold up. Because when she went to go do the move, she fucked up the move, couldn't get Jordan Grace up, and she had to do it again. And Jordan was able to get herself up enough, but you could tell, like, on her face, like, she was disappointed. And it is what it is. It sucks.
Yeah.
It does suck. You try to do it right, and it didn't work out. But it was really, really a privilege to get to see her work because I've been such a fan of her work for so long. That was the one that was a little weird, though, too, because the Titantron, like, they didn't even try to fucking, like, hide it. Like, they blatantly used the old WWE Titantron. The one with the hand, the eye in the hand, and her head spinning around. And then using the, not the tattoo theme song, but the other theme song.
Okay.
And it's like, you guys didn't even try. I don't know if you could show that on TV because this was live on hotspots. So like, it was just weird. Like they was like, yeah, fuck it, we'll just use your WWE one.
I met Lisa Marie one time years ago.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, we were at a SmackDown and we were in line getting food. She happened to be like one person ahead of us, and I'm in line. I'm with my friend's brother, and he kind of like I was busy talking with another friend of ours, and he taps me on the shoulder and is like, "Hey, that's her."
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's her. Like, no big deal. She's probably getting food. She's hungry, right?
Sure.
And she turns around and she kind of bumps into him with her order, which she had like 4 Polish sausage. Okay. Like stacked. And she looks at us and we're like, hey, you alright? And she's like, girls gotta eat. And just kind of like walked away. And she was really cool about it. Yeah. She apologized or whatever. And she went and put mustard and whatever. And said, hey, enjoy the show. But yeah, that was it. Yeah. It sucks to hear that, she's wearing a knee brace and shit. I know, last I heard, she was doing MMA stuff. Okay. So that could account for the knee.
Sure. That knee brace was thick, man. That was a really heavy duty knee brace, and you could see the struggle that she's having with it. I mean, I get it. She's older in age now.
That too. Yeah.
People are going to slow down, but you could tell, like, she was very disappointed in herself, and it sucks because it could happen to anybody. The crowd was really cool about it. The crowd was very supportive of her. Like they were just happy to see her there. Because you don't get to see her very often.
No, you don't.
So it was really a good treat. And speaking of the women, those weren't only title matches; they were now semifinal matches to a mini tournament for the inaugural War Wrestling Women's Championship.
Oh, nice!
So they're gonna have a women's championship. I will say this though, bro, they're 0 for 2 in title designs, belt designs.
Oh,
it sucks. Oh. It fucking sucks. That logo's cool. Don't put it on the belt. I mean, don't make it the belt.
Don't make it the belt.
You can throw it on the belt, but don't make it the fucking belt design. It's just not cool, man. I don't know what to make of that, but it's going to be Jordynne Grace, and it's not going to be a member of the AEW group, because the reason why I say that is because they even did an AEW versus other wrestling organizations on that night too. Like they were very much advertising AEW with Kylie Ray and Britt Baker. Jessica Havoc came out and wreaked havoc on the match, and then Ohio versus Everything, OVE, came out and they said, get this AEW garbage out of my ring.
Wow.
And they staked their claim that this is not gonna work.
Okay.
Obviously they had, well, I should say obviously, for those who don't know, they had a match, a 6-man tag match against SoCal Uncensored. That was cool to see them.
Nice.
Next time you see this friend of ours, by the way, just keep yelling out SCU. She was not a fan of that crowd. She's like, I fucking get it, all right? SCU. She was not a fan, but so yeah, next time you see her, SCU. But yeah, I mean, they're obviously signed with AEW, so you had that mixture too. And like, guys, girls, everyone listening to this show, this is a wrestling company that is based out of a high school gymnasium, and they're fucking getting it right. there's some issues with what they're doing, but it's also show number 4.
4, yeah.
Like, you know,
they're
cut them a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
You have Freelance, which is Chicago-based. They're a Chicago, South Suburb Chicago-based company. Freelance is a Chicago company. But you have Progress. They're based out of the UK.
Right.
AEW is one of the hottest things out there right now. Whether you want to call them a t-shirt company or a wrestling company, you're talking about AEW.
Yeah.
And they're promoting all that. They're promoting Impact Wrestling.
Right.
They are like putting Impact Wrestling on their show, promoting it.
Yeah, like half of the matches we saw last time were
same thing with here.
Had Impact people.
You know, the Warrior Wrestling title match was Brian Cage versus all 3 members of the Rascals in a 4-way. So like it was great because by the way, I met Trey Miguel that night too.
Sweet.
He's a really cool guy. You know, you had the 3-on-1 mentality, but then they started fighting each other. Hell of a match, you know? I mean, it's like, this is wrestling done right. You know what I mean? So, again, I know I kind of gone on a little bit more than I was intending, but go see live wrestling because just because it takes place in a high school gymnasium does not mean it's bad.
I always laugh at some of the guys in one of the old school groups that I am a part of on Facebook. Again, I'll keep their anonymity here, but
sure,
you do have that mentality, which I was telling you about before we started recording. They have a problem with a lot of the current product where they absolutely hate it and can't stand it. But it kills me because you get those guys who comment that way in the group constantly.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they're posting pictures of indie shows that they went to with or without their kids. And it's like, oh, yeah, we got to see this. Like, wait a minute.
What are you doing there?
Yeah, like, you just said you can't stand this bullshit, but yet you're there and you're taking pictures. Like, what the fuck? So, yeah, by all means, go support professional wrestling. Whether it's in a high school gymnasium or in a fucking arena, wherever. Go support it.
Yeah, we're not speaking to just kind of blow smoke up your ass. Like it's great. Like I said, you know, whether you watch it on TV or watch it live, like wrestling is always great, but there's always a difference. The same thing if you go to a sporting event, man.
My daughter, the first time she ever watched wrestling with me, it was on television.
Yeah.
And it was WWE.
Okay.
It was actually SmackDown. She and I watched a SmackDown together.
Okay.
And the first thing she got to experience was the women's roster.
Yeah.
And she was enamored right away. She's like, "Oh my God, did you see what happened to her?
Right.
Did you see this? Did you see that?" And she's been a fan ever since. But the moment she went to her first live show, like, that sealed the deal.
Man, that was something special for me too. Seeing her.
She took to it like a fish to water, and just the excitement that she got to experience. And she'll tell you herself, it's much different live.
Yeah,
it's a completely different beast live, no matter what you're seeing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's again, especially when you could bring a first timer, especially somebody that, you know, that's your daughter, you know what I mean? And you get to share that. You know, you always, as a parent, I don't have any kids of my own, but I'm sure you always want to share something, you know, have something. Yeah. You know, same thing with, like, you have younger siblings, you know, because I've always treated my younger siblings like they were my kids sometimes. You know, my parents worked very busy schedules, so we were very close in that way of, like, I was kind of like their caretaker. And we always, Monday night, whether, you know, it was a different time for Monday Night Raw, but, like, you know, Monday night, you know, my mom knew, it's like, hey, you know, Matt wants the living room TV. It's back when, you know, we had a fight for the TV. She never fought me. She's like, you can have the TV. It's Monday night. You can watch TV. But, hey, your sister wants to watch it with you. All right. Yeah. Cool. And she'd ask me about wrestling. And it was just like, it was so cool to just share my knowledge of wrestling. And, you know, she wanted to know, how do they do, you know, these kicks, and how do they do this without doing that, and, you know, hurting, you know, themselves. Like, it's not real. What do you mean it's not real? Like, you know, and, like, and then she got older, and again, you know, going back to the Night of Champions situation, or even we went to a house show a few years later. I'd say about 4 years later, we went to a house show, and we saw the Big Show, who she's not a fan of at all. She's never liked the Big Show. Of course, she's known Paul White during the bad years, his older years, and but she's like, wow, like just seeing him, just like larger than life, And
it's like watching a dinosaur.
It really is.
You
look at yourself and it's like you feel so insignificant when you're standing so close to somebody of that size. I mean, it is a really remarkable thing.
I'm 6'8".
Yeah, you're not.
For me to be like, holy shit, it takes a lot. It really does.
Because I'll use a line from The Blind Side. He's bigger and taller. Like that's what he is. Like he's the best of both worlds, and it was really cool to see that. Not only that, but she also had to meet AJ Lee that night too. And
right.
Anytime you get to meet these people, it's just like whether it's paid for through a meet and greet, or you literally bump into them like I did with Sami Callihan, and they're willing to shoot the shit with you for a few minutes. I mean, he was talking to me. He was told by somebody else, like, Sammy, we got to go. And, and like, he even semi-apologized. Like, hey, man, I got to go, kind of thing, He didn't have to do that. He just be like,
didn't.
Fuck this guy. Like, so it's really cool. But, yeah, go see professional wrestling. But we got to talk about something we started talking about in the previous episode. We are now in the quarterfinals of the New Japan Cup. Already.
Jesus.
But by the time you guys listen to this episode, we will be done with the quarterfinals.
Right.
And we'll be going into the semifinals. Should I run down who we have so far?
Absolutely.
All right, so here is your quarterfinals. You have Tomohiro Ishii versus Yoshi Hashi.
Fuck.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a sec.
Yes, please do.
Kazuchika Okada versus Will Ospreay.
That's an interesting one.
Yes. Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Zack Sabre Jr. time.
best wingman in professional wrestling right there. Taka Michinoku. And then Colt Cabana versus Sonata.
Man, oh boy. Okay.
All right, I'll let you start with whichever one you want to start with.
First and foremost, I've watched every night of this tournament so far.
Okay, I missed a few.
I have been on it like white on rice because I was lacking, man. I needed some New Japan in my life, and I made it a point to sit there and watch them all. And for whatever reason, man, it took me longer than usual.
Yeah. Because
of the Amazon Fire Stick and the the shitty performance of the New Japan app on that Fire Stick.
Get your shit together.
Yeah. It's just horrible.
Well, all right, so
I always end up stopping it because it'll stop itself.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
And then I just go through my Android phone and beam it to, or cast it to my TV.
So is it the app or is it the Fire Stick? Because I have a Fire Stick.
It's the Fire Stick.
Amazon, get your shit together.
Get your shit together, Amazon.
So I have a Fire Stick, not to make this a tech show, but Joe knows this. I have a Fire Stick that I have tried on multiple occasions to get to work, and I cannot get it to work consistently. So now it is just like my go-to to like just whip it across the room. Like, luckily, it was a Black Friday buy, so I didn't spend a lot of money. But it's like I bought a fucking dud. Like this thing sucks.
I'm telling you, and I have similar issues, man. Fuck.
It just makes me wish, because I have a Roku as well, but they don't have a lot of wrestling. On there. Like you just get the network. That's all you get. The WWE network.
Yeah.
Sorry, but yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, I've watched every night of the New Japan Cup so far. And I intend to continue that trend.
Yeah.
But first off, Tomohiro Ishii.
Yes.
The Stone Pitbull.
Yes.
When his first match was against Yuji Nagata.
Yes.
And when he came out for that match, he looked rough.
Yeah, he did.
He looked like he didn't fucking sleep right. Like he had jet lag on top of it.
Yeah.
And like he was just fucking hurting from the last show he did. So I don't know what his bag was, but whatever's going on with him, he's clearly not up to par. And I'm not trying to take away from his performance because
right.
he has performed, but it is not the Stone Pitbull that I am necessarily used to seeing.
Yeah.
And it bothers me here because we mentioned Yoshi Hashi. Now, if you're any kind of a New Japan fan or you listen to their broadcast, even remotely, you will know, at least the English broadcast, that Kevin Kelly is not a fan of Yoshi Hashi.
Not by any means.
And neither am I.
Right.
And I actually have the same problem that Kevin Kelly does with Yoshi Hashi, and that is you have this guy who's on this roster full of tremendous talent. Mm-hmm. He should be in there somewhere. Yeah. He's fully capable of performing that way. So why the fuck doesn't he? He is like the all-around jobber on this fucking roster. So, and the only
he's their Steve Lombardi, pretty much.
Yes. And the only reason he kind of steps his game up is if there's like some dire fucking consequence to where they're like threatening his job.
Yeah, if you don't perform, you're not going to get the G1 next year.
Yeah,
all right, I'll perform.
And then
now.
all of a sudden, you see this complete transformation,
right,
of a wrestler, and he becomes a hell of a lot more worthwhile. And I just don't understand why, minus the nagging shoulder injury he's had for like the last 3 years.
Yeah,
I don't understand why he doesn't do that more often. I'm not asking him to do it all the time, but fuck, give me something, Yoshi.
Nobody's expecting him to be Kazuchika Okada caliber.
No, yeah, I don't want him to be Okada. I want him to be something more than he is.
Yeah,
fuck.
Just give a shit. Give a shit. It's not really complicated, but I have that same issue, and I'm actually surprised he's in the quarterfinals. Yeah. I really thought that this was going to be like between Juice Robinson and Chase Owens at this point.
Well, so on our previous episode, we covered Yoshi Hashi versus Nakanishi.
Oh my god,
which was a horrible fucking match
of the year.
You know, so that goes, and that was almost a 13-minute match.
Yeah, it was.
But the following round, you had Chase Owens versus Yoshi Hashi.
Yes, it
went almost a little over 14 minutes. And I was surprised that Yoshi made it past Chase.
I was too.
I really thought Chase was going to go further in the tournament, and much to my chagrin, that's not what happened. And to see Yoshi again, I mentioned it because Yoshi elevated his game to face Chase Owens.
Yeah,
and I want to see more of that. I hope to see more of that in this tournament, because again, his next opponent is Ishii.
So how far does Yoshi Hashi go? Does he go to the semifinals?
He might, man. He might. And at this point, I'm kind of hoping. That he does. It would be something a little bit different.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll get to see some more out of Yoshi Hashi that we normally don't get to see.
Maybe somebody took him to the side and said, you got to step your game up. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know.
They threatened 205 on him.
So, I mean, if it is Yoshi Hashi, he's going to face either Kazuchika Okada or Will Ospreay. Chaos versus Chaos in both matches, if that's the case. Or actually, Tomohiro Ishii as well.
Yep.
Not that that really matters at this point, but Okada versus Ospreay, we saw this about a year ago. I believe it was the anniversary show last year, if I'm not mistaken. Okay.
Yes.
Okada versus Ospreay again. What do you think?
I want to take a step back really quick.
Yeah, you go wherever you want to go.
So, I didn't necessarily like the Okada versus Mikey Nichols match.
Okay, I didn't watch that one.
It was a little. You could tell they're not there yet with their performances, so they don't gel very well.
You think Mikey Nichols is going to have that problem with a lot of these Japanese wrestlers, though, given where he's been?
No,
No?
I think
Okay.
it's just I think he needs a little more time to saturate himself in the roster.
Okay, that's fair.
I think he'll be fine. But for that match, it just didn't work well for me.
Okay.
The match I do want to talk about leading up to the Okada Ospreay match is Will Ospreay versus Lance Archer.
Yeah.
Now Lance Archer is close to 7 feet tall.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say 6'10" but he's a big fucking dude. He's a big, mean fucking dude.
Right.
And Will Ospreay walked into that match with a couple nagging injuries, his back and his ribs. And, you know, he is getting on the beefier side of being more than a junior heavyweight.
Right.
Going into that match, I didn't know what to expect. And I gotta say, for me, that is probably up there so far as match of the tournament. It was that good.
Yeah.
And kudos to Will Ospreay for fucking manhandling Lance Archer. I didn't think he was that strong, to be honest with you. And he almost ragdolled him to finish the match. And I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, I mean, I knew he was bulking up, but goddamn.
Well, for me, I don't know if you remember. I know we watched the match, but I don't know if you remember the match he had. I think it was for Over the Top Wrestling, which is based out of Ireland.
Oh, it was him versus Volter.
And he didn't necessarily manhandle Volter by any means, but he was hanging with them.
He was, yeah.
You know, like as far as like the physical aspect of it, and that. If you go back to the pre-match, like Will Ospreay was talking about becoming a heavyweight and that he was going to show the world that he can hang with the heavyweights. So I didn't personally watch this match yet. I'm behind on a lot of stuff right now. I'm glad that he manhandled him, like you said, but I'm also not necessarily 100% surprised either because it's kind of been a regular thing, more so now than in the past. And I look at it too. I think Will Ospreay is looking to alter his wrestling style a bit because let's face facts, he wrestles a very dangerous style.
Well, yeah,
of match.
he got. For those of you who don't know, earlier this year he got pulled aside. I'd say late last year he got pulled aside
right
by the likes of Chris Jericho, and Chris Jericho told him like, "Hey, you don't need to fucking keep doing the Spanish fly off of like tables and stupid shit like that if you want to go and have a long career in professional wrestling."
Right.
And Will Ospreay took it very personal, like, how dare you fucking tell me how to wrestle? and right after he had that match, I think it was at New Year's Dash, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Against Kota Ibushi.
Mm-hmm.
And he fucking concussed Bushi with a bare arm clothesline with a lariat. And
that was the night before.
That was the night before at
Wrestle Kingdom.
At Wrestle Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay, so he had that match, and he concussed Ibushi with that clothesline, and he made the remark of, if you're gonna tell me how to wrestle, then I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you exactly what I can do, and that's all it took was a fucking lariat, from behind no less. But ever since then, he's had like this mean streak in him, and it did come out in this match against Lance Archer. So Ospreay advances. You've got Ospreay versus Okada. The other match I want to bring up here includes Okada. It was the first round match. Okada versus Michael Elgin.
Yeah.
For those of you who have not watched that match, again, that is up there as match of the tournament so far for me. Michael Elgin, I know Big Mike is a very hefty dude. One of the guys we met at a Ring of Honor show years ago.
Yes.
And he's built like a brick shithouse.
Yeah.
I can only imagine how hard he chops. And in this match, by the end of the match, Okada's pec right near his armpit.
Yeah.
It looked like fucking hamburger meat, like raw hamburger meat. It was fucking disgusting. And to see Okada wince, obviously the skin is broken, but they keep going at it. And for him to like fight back tears and shit, it was like, dude, stop already.
It was. Yeah. Those moments get a little difficult to watch sometimes.
That's strong style for you, though.
Yeah, it is. To your knowledge, has Michael Elgin ever been in the ring with Walter before?
I don't think so.
All right.
I don't think so.
That sounds like a following contest episode.
Yes, and you know what? Bringing that up too,
Yeah.
this was the 4th meeting between Elgin and Okada, and Okada has beat him every single time. For those of you who were interested in knowing that.
I'm just hoping that we see Michael Elgin on a more regular basis.
Yeah, I don't know whether it was personal issues that kept him out of New Japan.
There were some injuries too.
Yeah, I know he was coming back from an injury as well.
Right.
But whatever the case may be, I hope he's back. It's awesome to see him. He's like that Bam Bam Bigelow style performer where he's a very hefty dude, but he's so fucking agile.
You just don't know what you're going to get out of him in each match, and that's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
That's a good thing, and Michael Elgin hopefully is like doing G1 this year.
Yeah.
You know.
Nevertheless, we do have Okada versus Ospreay coming up, and looking forward.
So what's your semifinal then? What's your semifinal looking like?
Ooh.
And in that bracket.
In that bracket.
Ishii versus Yoshi Hashi, and Okada versus Ospreay.
I tell you what, man.
A lot of chaos going on there.
Yeah.
Bad pun.
I'm gonna go with Yoshi Hashi over Tomohiro Ishii.
The way it's been going, I'm not gonna fight you on that at all.
And then I'm gonna go Will Ospreay over Kazuchika Okada.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. And I think he...
Okay. That's interesting pick.
I think he tries to put the hurt on Okada to where he knocks him out. Or it's one of those things where Ospreay does a lot of physical damage to Okada. Okada wins, but he might lose to Yoshihashi.
You think Yoshihashi's going to the finals?
I'm telling you, man. I mean, I've been wrong before, but that's how I feel right now.
You know what? Here's my thing about that. And it's sometimes I answer these questions, even though you didn't really ask me a question. But I say things, and it's extremely generic, but you know what? It's as true as I could possibly make it. Yoshihashi can face Jay White, in my opinion, if he wins it all. I don't mind it, but you better fucking bring it. If he brings it, and he gives me what you and I know what he can do, you know, not this half-ass shit that we saw in the G1 last year, but he gives me the Yoshihashi at his best. I don't mind seeing him face Jay White
right
at G1. So I know that's a generic statement, but I know what Yoshihashi can be. I have that same frustration. I'm not always keen on Kevin Kelly picking on him every single night.
I don't mind it because I agree with him.
Yeah,
I mean,
I get it. I guess my thing is it's like all right, like enough.
Because it's frustrating.
It is frustrating.
And
he's got to see it more often.
And that's why Kevin Kelly does pick on him, because he knows he's capable of so much more.
I wonder if Yoshihashi knows that Kevin Kelly's picking on him.
I would assume so at this point. I mean,
he's got to fly. You got to travel with those guys, Kevin Kelly. You know. All right, so moving down to the other brackets. Again, you have Hiroshi Tanahashi versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Colt Cabana versus Sonata. And I want to remind everybody at home that in episode 55, my partner here picked Zack Sabre Jr. to win the entire tournament. So far, so good. Are you still confident in Zack Sabre Jr.?
Yeah, I'm still not a fan of Old Man Tanahashi.
Get off my lawn.
And telling people to get off of his lawn. And I tell you what, at this point, I do see Zack Sabre Jr. going over Tanahashi. Whether he does it cleanly or not is a whole nother thing.
Second year in a row in the New Japan Cup, if he does.
Because of his wingman.
Taka Michinoku.
Yeah, because of Taka. Which I was really impressed with a match. I don't remember what night it was on, but there was a tag match with Taka. And Taka, you don't really see him wrestle too often these days. He's too busy being the hype man for Zack Sabre there.
Out.
But he gets in the ring, and Kevin Kelly makes a good point. He reminisces on how it was a huge deal for Taka to go to the WWF and be that pioneer in the light heavyweight division. I mean, they built a whole division around him when they signed him.
Right.
And it was a huge deal that he was over there. People forget that. People see Taka now, and they're like, oh, he's just a fucking wingman.
Yeah.
But Taka can go. And if you
absolutely.
if you watch that match, it's like he didn't miss a fucking step. It was refreshing and great to see Taka back in action, even if it was just part of a tag match.
Right.
I still have Zack Sabre Jr. beating Tanahashi. As far as Sonata and Colt Cabana, I know Colt Cabana is only really in this as a filler.
Right.
I mean, let's be honest here. So, regardless of whether that was true or not, I still had Sonata going over Colt Cabana.
I mean, I get he's a filler, but does he have to be a 2-round winning filler?
Apparently he does.
I mean, I had him losing to Makabe in the first round. And then instead of getting Togi Makabe versus Davey Boy Smith Jr., we get fucking Colt Cabana versus Toru Yano.
Makabe told the commentators that he is like relentless when it comes to new talent that he's never faced before. Mm-hmm. And he has a bad habit of not knowing what to do in the ring against those guys.
Okay.
And that was his excuse for losing to Colt Cabana. Whether I buy that, I don't know. But Colt Cabana beat him, so.
And then Toru Yano beats Davey Boy Smith Jr. in a pretty quick match.
That, I don't know what the fuck is going on with that. That isn't the first time he's done that, and I don't know.
We've seen Colt Cabana and Toru Yano live before.
It is entertaining.
It is entertaining. It's a little annoying.
It is a little annoying. And that's why, like, you have this in a tournament like this, and you're like, well, what the fuck? Where does this come in?
Yeah.
To me, it stuck out like a sore thumb.
Yeah,
like, it shouldn't have happened, you know? But I do have Sonata going over Colt Cabana.
I mean, look at that. The lineup that Sonata fought to get here, too.
Yeah,
Hiroki Goto, Minoru Suzuki. I mean, you can't have him lose to Sonata. You just can't. I like Sonata's chances of going over on Sabre Jr. I got Sabre Jr. going to the finals, but I really like the way that they've been pushing Sonata over the past couple of years now. I wouldn't be surprised.
I do as well, and that was another thing I wanted to speak on about this whole New Japan Cup is the versatility of Los Ingobernables as a faction.
Yes.
You guys, I know a lot of you who I've talked to about this cup, this tournament, you're only interested in the tournament matches, and you just kind of bypass the tag matches. I'm telling you, you're missing out on some great fucking tag team action. You have the entire stable of Los Ingobernables de Japón fighting in different tandems.
Yeah.
And it's been so fucking cool to watch.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Especially with the addition of Shingo.
He adds something to that
dude,
group, man.
And you know, they keep commenting on how he's the only junior heavyweight who's not technically a heavyweight yet, but he's too big to be a junior heavyweight. He's in that gray area.
Yeah.
And you watch him wrestle, and he does use his size against those guys.
Yeah. But
he does it to the point where you're like, dude, it fucking hurts.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
He's in there to hurt people. So, dude, for those of you who enjoy any kind of tag team wrestling, that is my pick of the entire cup. Is watch any fucking Ingobernables match. Watch it in its entirety. It is fucking a beautiful thing.
Joe said it here. You got Yoshi Hashi versus Will Ospreay, and then you have Zack Sabre Jr. versus Sonata.
I'm really looking forward to that match out of the two.
Sabre Jr. versus Sonata?
Yes.
The rematch from last year?
Yep. And again, I still have Zack Sabre going over Sonata. I think
that's not a bad pick. I can't argue that.
I just think, like, as much momentum as Sonata has going on in this tournament,
yeah,
I just don't think he's going to be able to seal the deal.
All right, so what's your take on some of these some of these first round losses here, and I'm not going to go over the entire first round, but you have the New Japan Cup, you have the big G1 Supercard here, and Tetsuya Naito is out in the first round, and it's a tough matchup because he's got Kota Ibushi, who now Kota Ibushi's out in the second round because of Zack Sabre Jr. And then we kind of get Colt Cabana in the quarterfinals, and look, that's going to happen, and I mean. It's hard to have a perfect bracket and all that stuff, but I don't know. Like, do you think where do those guys fit as far, because we're getting closer and closer to the G1, and I'll tell you what. Let's save this conversation. Let's pay some bills.
Sure.
And I'm gonna come back. I want to talk G1 because there's some things I want to discuss. That
we definitely have to discuss
that need to be discussed. So we're gonna pay some bills, guys. Stay tuned. We're right back.
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, think you can tell us what to do?
I can't tell you what to do.
You think you can tell us what to wear?
I can't tell you what to wear.
You think that you're better?
Hell no, I'm not better.
Well, you better get ready.
But I am smarter.
Bow to the masters.
I'll bow to the masters over at Raise. Raise will hook you up with all kinds of discounted gift cards for your favorite places to eat, for your favorite places to shop online and in store. They have any place you could possibly think of, and they even have discounts on ride-sharing services like Lyft and Uber in case you guys need to make it to a show. So hop on over and support the show. Support your 20x20 crew. Visit us for more information on Raise and discounted gift cards over at 20x20crew.com/podcast/raise. That's RAISE. 20x20crew.com/podcast/raise. And we got 2 words for you. Save money!
And we are back. Thanks for sticking around, ladies and gentlemen, while we pay some bills. As always, again, we do have wrestling on in the background. We do have a recent episode of NXT going on. Currently, we got Ricochet and Aleister Black doing the Aleister Black pose as they take on DIY, team of Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano. Kind of sad because, this is taped, obviously. Tape show, and we know that Tommaso Ciampa is going to be no longer with us for the foreseeable future because of a neck injury. So, my partner here was telling me that he's had the surgery, and I'm assuming he's doing fine on as far as that goes. But he's going to be out for a good chunk of 2019 now.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
Especially coming back from that really bad knee injury, and for him to have to deal with this now too. We were talking New Japan Cup, and we were talking some of the guys that were eliminated early. Kota Ibushi was eliminated in the second round. Tetsuya Naito was eliminated in the first round. Evil's gone. Minoru Suzuki is gone. There's a decent amount of star power that is gone. And then we have the G1 Supercard coming up. For those who don't know, April 6th. Madison Square Garden. This is a big deal, guys. This is a very big deal. We've talked about this on the show many times, how big it is for them to be in the Garden. And so far, as we do this show right now, as we are recording, we are just a few weeks away. And I don't see Kota Ibushi on this card. I don't see Tetsuya Naito on this card. If you look at some of the guys that are in the quarterfinals, where do we fit guys like Tanahashi if they don't win? I think this is kind of an interesting situation here where you have maybe too much as far as ROH and New Japan, and you're trying to figure out who's going to fit where, because as we see it right now, there's 8 matches. And the easy solution, which is a shitty solution for some of those guys, is the Honor Rumble. And that seems to be just about it. I mean, you have a set card for the most part, and assuming that it's going to be a 3-hour show, I don't see it getting much bigger than this.
You know, right now we have 8 matches listed. There's a potential for there to be 10.
Okay.
But again, we're not quite there yet. There's still time. Things can change. You got to look at what we got here. You know, they do have an Honor Rumble announced.
Right.
So there you go. That's a good. You figure a good 20, 25 minutes.
And that's not including in the card, by the way. That's a pre-show.
Oh, that's a pre-show.
Yeah, so that's not included into the card.
Even so,
as of right now.
Yeah, even so, you have a 3-way for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. You're looking at 15 to 20 minutes for that.
Yeah,
maybe more. The championship match between Jay White and whoever wins the New Japan Cup, that's got to go probably about half an hour right there. I mean, you have
minimum like 20, 22,
right,
23.
So you have the potential of 2 matches eating up close to an hour.
Yeah.
You know, so I could see where, they might have too much. Or too much talent and not enough time to fit them all in. It's going to be interesting to see what they do. You know, Will Ospreay has a winner-take-all match against Jeff Cobb.
Does that kind of seal his fate in the New Japan Cup, you think?
I don't know.
It's interesting that they booked that match.
Yeah.
You know? This is where there seems to be a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Or at least a lack of good planning.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know? But because you have Will Ospreay in a match, and he's also in the quarterfinals of the New Japan Cup. So Will Ospreay pull double duty that night? I don't think so. So
yeah, ideally no, but you never know.
So it kind of just leads to like a really interesting concept because, like, I'm not a Dalton Castle fan, but I'm going to be fair because I know he's well liked and well received in Ring of Honor. Cool. You know, Roosh, I'm a fan of Roosh, but do you really need this match? Does Dalton Castle and Roosh really need to be on this card? You know, Roosh is pretty brand new to Ring of Honor. Couldn't this wait? Couldn't you?
I agree. I don't know why they're having this match.
Bully Ray versus an unknown opponent in a New York street
fight. Again,
do you really need it?
Do we really need it?
Yeah. It doesn't seem to be relevant anymore. And I'm not saying I don't want to see Bully Ray in a street fight. I mean, he can still go, not as well as he used to, but he can still go to an extent. I just don't need to see all that shit anymore. And it just seems like this is Madison Square Garden, guys.
Well, you know what? I take it back.
All right, let's hear it.
You're right. I mean, we don't need to see that.
Yeah.
Unless it's like someone like Minoru Suzuki.
That's the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing is that surprise partner is going to be something special.
If we have Suzuki versus Bully Ray in the New York street fight, yes.
I'd pay to see that.
I would, yes.
I'd pay to see that.
Absolutely. The stock of that match just jumped tenfold, you know? But yeah, I guess that's what this is. It's just a lot of potential at this point. Again, you know, that triple threat for the junior heavyweight, it could easily go 15 minutes. It could go 35 minutes.
Right. Well, not only that, but let's look at the ROH World Title. Jay Lethal and Matt Taven at the 17th anniversary show. They went an hour.
Hour draw.
Oh my god, great match. Matt Taven changed my mind on what he can do inside that ring.
You know what? You and I have differed on Matt Taven, and I hope that match solidified what I see in Matt Taven to you. I hope it translated over to you.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, you know, you stick him with the Kingdom, and he functions and they function. That's great. But you and I have had that discussion about the Kingdom.
Right.
Like, they're just there. They don't...
Yeah, this is not the incarnation of the Kingdom that you want to know. That used to be a respectable faction.
Right.
Not anymore.
But you pull Matt Taven out of that.
Yeah.
And he is clearly his own beast. And he knows what to do in that ring. And he can go. He can definitely go.
He's a hell of a wrestler. There's no doubt about that.
You know, it sucks that they had to go 60 minutes and like jack shit happens except for the addition of a third person in their match at the G1 Supercard. But,
right.
Yeah, for those of you who weren't sold on Matt Taven, watch that match.
Yeah, watch that match indeed. I mean, I was a fan of his heel work, for one. I love his heel personality. And I always wanted more of him as a wrestler because I kind of felt, going back to the whole Yoshi Hashi thing, not that it was that extreme, but it felt lazy at times. And a lot of it is the faction. It really is. And it's just not a good fit for him anymore. It's really hard when somebody has grown above the faction that they're in. You know, the faction needs to grow with the wrestler, and it hasn't. You know, TK Orion, I think there's something there with him potentially in the future, but he needs a lot of work. Vinny Marseglia, I appreciate all his horror fandom, but as a wrestler, he's not. He's just not a wrestler. He needs to go.
Yeah.
Matt Taven is bars above them on his worst day. And my question is Matt Taven a legit main eventer? That night, I was proven to be wrong about him, and I'm glad. I like being proven wrong because that means I get to know. I now know that there's another legit wrestler in that business, and Matt Taven should be ROH World Champion in the very near future, and it very well could happen at Madison Square Garden. I do like the fact that Jay Lethal does get to walk into Madison Square Garden as champion.
Yes,
that's really cool.
Yeah, very important to me, because for me, Jay Lethal is a Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
you know, and it isn't just because of this term as champion.
Yeah,
just over the years, Jay Lethal's the guy that he's kind of filled that role.
He's been consistent with them.
Yeah,
from day one, and he's not just there because he can go anywhere in the world. He can go to WWE. He can go to AEW and other companies. He chooses Ring of Honor because that's what he loves. That's what he wants to do. So, and when you have somebody who's willing to be the workhorse for you like that, why wouldn't you reward him?
Yeah.
You know, because not only is he a workhorse, but he's one of your top guys, if not your top guy. And I feel that Jay Lethal is the perfect guy to be champion going into this show, whether he walks out as champion or not. Marty Scurll was going to be the guy as far as storyline goes. Whoever won that match, Marty Scurll was going to get. Matt Taven was actually added to the match because he never lost.
Right.
And it's now going to be a ladder match.
So a three-way dance for the ladder match, for the heavyweight title.
What's your take on it becoming a ladder match? Do you think it should have been a straight three-way, or does the gimmick work here?
I think the gimmick definitely works here. You have something you're touting as a supercard.
Yeah.
You want it to be a platform to showcase everything you have to offer. And so adding a ladder to this match, I think it only boosts the stock of the match. You know, especially with these three guys.
Yeah.
You know,
I think it's going to pay off in the long run. I told you that there's something that you and I need to talk about, though.
Yes.
We gotta have a conversation here. So, a few weeks ago, we talked about it on the show. You and I talked about it off camera. You and I talked about it outside the mic. Guerrillas of Destiny versus the Briscoes.
I was so fucking excited. Like this, to me,
that could be your main event.
I was gonna say, to me, that would have been my main event for the G1 Supercard.
You know, you tear down the house with the triple threat, and then you go balls to the walls.
Yeah,
4 guys is willing to beat the shit out of each other. 2 brothers at that too. You know,
exactly.
And Guerrillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga, and Tangaloa are the IWGP Tag Team Champions. But we have a problem, Joe. We have a problem. This is a winner-take-all match. So The IWGP Tag Team Championships are on the line, as well as the ROH World Tag Team Champions. But this is where we run into a problem. The Briscoes, Jay and Mark, are no longer the ROH World Tag Team Champions, and instead we get Villain Enterprises, the team of Brody King and his grandfather.
Or as my daughter likes to call him, the old man who's about to die in the ring. We are, of course, referring to PCO.
POS. I don't mean point of sales, by the way.
For those of you who have not had the pleasure of watching PCO wrestle these days,
oh boy,
it is a train wreck. It is
that's being nice.
Yeah, it's a train wreck, and I am being nice.
Holy shit!
Here you have a man in his mid-50s, I believe, early to mid-50s, and he is still trying to wrestle like a cruiserweight, and it shows that he just does not. He doesn't. I think he's just at this point. I think he's too stupid to realize he cannot do some of the shit he thinks he can do, and quite honestly, it makes for a very nerve-wracking experience watching him wrestle, because there's multiple times during any one of his matches where you think like, oh my god, he's killed himself.
So we talked about going to see wrestling live. If you see PCO in a match live, I want to warn you right now. You might want to distract yourself with something, because it is scary watching him in that ring, because he doesn't think. Like Joe said it perfectly. He's just too stupid to realize that he shouldn't be doing this stuff. Yeah. I've seen him do a moonsault, and he came so damn close to his neck.
Yeah, breaking his neck, or fucking, mistiming the spot and breaking someone else's neck.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't want to see that shit. I don't like PCO, but doesn't mean I want to see him die in front of me. But you have Brody King and PCO. I got no beef with Brody King.
No, neither do I.
He's as tough as nails, and he cool guy to watch in that ring. Really is. PCO just doesn't have it anymore. To my opinion, he never had it, period. But especially nowadays. Why the fuck do you take the Briscoes out of this match?
The only thing I can think of at this point is maybe something came up with
their chicken farm,
with their personal obligations to their business, and maybe that's what happened. If that's the case, that's fucking unfortunate. But
for them to miss this show too,
man, you know what? At this point, if they are going to keep PCO and Brody King as tag champs up into this show, they might want to add another tag team to this fucking match.
And it sucks because, again, GOD versus the Briscoes, you and I were talking about it. It is a main event caliber match. That is a match
I think that would have been one of the early runnings for match of the year. Yeah.
I mean, it's just the amount of hard hitting. This is not a gimmick match either. This is a tag team match. Hard hitting, tons of great spots. A lot of just what you would expect out of a fight, like that fight feel, without it being called a no holds barred match or something like that. It doesn't have to be. Two teams of two brothers that happen to be champions that are just there to beat the ever living shit out of each other and prove that they are the better tag team. That right there writes itself. Don't touch that match. Do not touch that match, and they did. And as much as I don't want, I hope everything's okay with them, but I guess as a wrestling fan, you kind of hope that it was some kind of emergency that they have to attend to, because that's the only logical reason to why I personally would take them out of this match and replace them with Villain Enterprises. And again, I get Villain Enterprises is has a little bit of steam, especially with Marty Scurll, but they're not main event status ready.
No.
And the sure as hell weren't ready for this caliber of match. And this was a big time match. This was the first match that was booked for the G1 Supercard. And it gets changed. It doesn't make any sense, and it's unfortunate and it sucks. I'm not happy about it at all. I'm still gonna watch the fucking show, but
yeah,
but it is very disappointing. It is very disappointing because it's a ball that has been dropped. And guys, again, this is Madison Square Garden. This is the first time in 50, 60 years, that a non-WWE wrestling company is going to be doing a show. I'm at this point right now, I'm not 100% confident that they are putting on the best show. And I know it's still early, we still have time, but it just feels like, I don't want to say drop the ball, but they are certainly close to it. And it sucks because this is really not the time to be fucking up. And it has nothing to even do with WWE.
No.
I mean, look at what's happening again in May. And that kind of buzz already. You know, yeah, they could easily drop the ball too. But if you drop the ball and you get people less interested in your product, well, that's helping AEW before they even start.
Yeah.
You know, so I would really, really hope that they tweak this card a little bit better. And certainly, I mean, this part the wrestlers control, but whatever match is out there, you better fucking make it a 5 caliber match or best you can possibly fucking be. Because it's a little worrisome right now. It really is.
The only other thing I could think of is maybe they're holding off. Maybe they're holding that match off for a different card. Which again, let's face it, this is a big deal. Why wouldn't you want to have that match there as opposed to some other night, some other place?
My only thing is that New Japan is going to announce some more U.S. shows, and the Briscoes are going to be in the house, and they make their names known at some point.
Yeah.
And we get a rivalry. We get a rivalry that we get to see in the States. Maybe every once in a while we get to see in Japan. I mean, this is one of those things too where the hell is Rev Pro in this? I mean, they're part of this whole thing. You know, why not acute? I mean, you got a little bit of CMLL in here. You got Dragon Lee in there, but like, why not incorporate the other company that's doing business with you? Why not make it this big international event? I get it's New Japan and Ring of Honor, but you know, that's another thing too, is where's everybody else at? You know, get everybody else on board. Get this big rotating door where we share talent. Start rivalries that, hey, you know, let's say, is an easy one here. Let's say the Briscoes do make their name known and they do something to GOD. And, okay, well, now, you know, are they going to be in Japan? Are they going to, you know, they could be anywhere kind of thing. Just shit like that. It's I want to say it's simple, but on paper it's simple, and you should at least take a stab at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if they will, but I'm just beyond disappointed that that the Briscoes are out of this match, because that was the match that I was like, fuck, they might win the entire WrestleMania week with just that match alone.
Yeah.
On top of all the other cool shit. I'm excited about a lot of shit on here. You know, I'm excited about that ladder match. I'm excited about the 3-way junior heavyweight. You know, this is my first time seeing Bandito and Ishimori in the ring together.
Yeah, that should be pretty entertaining.
That should be some good stuff. On top of Dragon Lee being in there. He's a Japanese wrestler killer. You know, and then Ospreay and Cobb. You know, Ospreay, who probably won't be facing Jay White that night. Given everything we said about Ospreay and facing heavier guys, him versus Jeff Cobb, pretty fucking interesting.
Yeah, should be.
So there's definitely some good parts here, and we want you to watch that. But it just left a really sour taste in my mouth. I had to get it off my chest.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. Something like the Honor Rumble, maybe that should be cut down
Yeah.
You know, and them add some other kind of match to take some of the time away from the Rumble. Again, Roosh versus Dalton Castle doesn't really need to be a thing.
That's, to me, honestly, that's as of right now, where that rivalry kind of stands, that's like a ROH TV match right now.
Yeah,
you know? That's.
I mean, hopefully we get something better out of it than that.
Yeah.
But
I mean, they could tear the house down. Very well could happen. But on paper, it doesn't excite me at all.
And then, like I said, unless Bully Ray is going to fight Minoru Suzuki, I'm really not interested. There's no one else on the New Japan roster that I would like to see him fight in a street fight.
In a street fight, no.
You know?
Maybe Tanahashi and just beat the shit out of him.
No, that wouldn't even work for me.
No? All right. I tried.
So yeah, I don't know what the Ring of Honor's thinking here. Unless it's not a Ring of Honor decision, maybe it's a New Japan decision. You know,
Sure.
You know, you and I talked about on the obligatory NWO episode where
Yes.
New Japan kind of ran roughshod with booking when they were hooked up with UWFI, and you see how that went well for UWFI. So. But yeah.
They need this win. Both companies need this win, though. This is a big deal, and
it's a big deal because not just because of it being in Madison Square Garden. Let's face it. Let's address the elephant in the room. A lot of their top talent went elsewhere.
Well, see, that's the point I was going to make.
You know?
You know, when this was originally announced, you had Cody, you had the Young Bucks, you had Kenny Omega. You had, SoCal Uncensored. Those guys are gone.
Yeah.
They're wrestling for one other company right now. And again, they have all the momentum without a single event happening yet. You don't want to hand them more. There's fumbling the ball, and there's literally handing it to the opponent. So here, you take this. And that could potentially happen if this is a bomb. This is a dud. There's tons of wrestling happening this weekend, or the WrestleMania weekend, I should say.
Yeah.
Tons of wrestling happening. Obviously, you have WrestleMania and you have the NXT, but you have all the other companies that are out there looking to get their show over. Impact Wrestling has a show out there. MLW has a show. Evolve has shows. What makes yours so special? That's where you have to stand out and above the rest. What makes you so special above NXT or a WrestleMania, as far as quality of event goes? It's important to take advantage of these kind of opportunities because you might not get the Garden ever again.
Absolutely.
Especially if this fails. Or actually, I don't even think it needs to even just fail, especially if it doesn't exceed expectations. Because
I think that's a better statement.
Yeah, and even then, there's no guarantees given Vince McMahon's relationship with the Garden. I know it's not on good terms right now, but he's still Vince McMahon.
Yep.
And he tends to find a way. So I don't know, but at any rate, we do want you to, as always, support professional wrestling. I think it's a good time to remind you guys how to do that. If you don't already have a WWE Network subscription, you need to get that through us. And right now would be a good time to do it because you're within the 30-day mark. You could watch WrestleMania for how much money?
Free.
Nothing?
Free $99.
Free $99. I don't think you can pay any less than that. Go over to 20x20crew.com/podcast/WWE Network. It's all one word. A subscription on us, through us. Also, too, we mentioned all this wrestling over WrestleMania weekend. There's this little app, I don't know if we ever mentioned it before, called Fight. If you don't know anything about it, go to 20x20crew.com/podcast/fight, FITE, and get yourself a free subscription. You have to be a new subscriber.
Absolutely.
But I'm not going to tell you anything, but last time I checked, email addresses are free.
Yes.
So.
Email addresses are free. Sign up as a new user, even if you have an existing account. Just use a different email. And that way you support us a little bit. We get shown a little bit of love. But more importantly, we're going to give you $15 worth of fight credit right off the bat towards your first fight purchase. And what better way to start things off than watch shit that's going on WrestleMania weekend?
I mean, WrestleMania is on a Sunday. WrestleMania weekend, it's the longest weekend I've ever seen. It starts on a Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Tuesday this year.
Yeah, Tuesday through Sunday, you have all kinds of shows and festivities on Fight TV app. It's crazy.
Again, it's 20x20crew.com/podcast/FITE. That spells fight. Again, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you already have a subscription, get another one. Get your $15. Put it towards good professional wrestling, whatever you want.
Yeah.
And on top of that, while you're there, check out Ring of Honor every single Monday night, 7 Eastern, 6 Central. For free. As well as a plethora of other wrestling and just combat sports in general.
Yeah.
It is an absolutely wonderful app, and it is now officially an app, too. So, again, get the app, get the subscription, get yourself some friends or watch it alone, whoever, and watch professional wrestling, because that's what we're going to be doing.
Absolutely. And on that note, we're going to bid you guys adieu for another week. Don't forget, you can catch us on social media. Facebook.com/20x20crew is our official Facebook page. Facebook.com/groups/20x20talk is where you can come and talk to us about wrestling, all things wrestling. We're also on Twitter. You can hate tweet us at twitter.com/20x20crew. We're also on Instagram. Instagram.com/20x20crew. We do have YouTube exclusive content in the form of the following contest. And you can catch all that information about our YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe button while you're there. That can be done over at 20x20crew.com/podcast/YouTube. And of course, our home on the web is our domain at 20x20crew.com, where you can find all of our previous episodes, merch, timestamps, the whole nine. Anything and everything we'd have to offer is right there for your perusal.
As always, again, support professional wrestling. Go to a show.
Yeah,
get out, go to a show, meet fellow wrestling fans like yourselves, like us. Support professional wrestling by watching it through the plethora of methods you can do. You can watch it. I want to thank my partner again this week. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been Matt. He's been Joe. You've been fantastic. And until next week, we will see you in the ring.